So we're here today with Martha Mertz, the founder of ATHENA International, and we're exploring the current leadership perspectives in relationship to the next generation. So what have been your experiences with helping young women learn about ATHENA leadership principles, and what would be the advice you would give to them as a next generation leader?
Well, Kristine, I've spent a little time looking into what we call the millennials, this group that you're referring to. And they're really quite a phenomenal group. What I found was that their ages are between 20 and 36. That's roughly the case. That they already represent 40% of the workforce in our country. And that number will double in the next 10 years. So this is a hugely important group of people. And they do come in to the workforce and into the world with a different set of expectations because they've been surrounded by a different world than we were. Larry Ellison, who is the CEO and founder of Oracle, said something that I think they would love to hear. Deep inside us, there is a primal desire to do something important in life. And I think that that is a perfect statement for the millennials because they want to have a sense of significance. It's not just enough to have a job. They want their work to be meaningful and significant. They like not to have a boss who gives them a once-a-year review. They like to be coached. They want to develop themselves as people, as professionals, so that they've got more to give back. So they like more frequent feedback. They want trust in their workplace, and they want connection. And those things are perfect. They set themselves up perfectly to really do something fabulous. And I say that they need to take a look at this ATHENA leadership model because it speaks directly to all of the things that I think that they would find important. And again, it starts with the idea of being authentic. And I think that that's what these people are looking for. They want to know their own voice. They want to know and live the values that they have. So I'd take a look at this model and try to adopt the things that are within that model. Learning constantly, giving back, having something that you're fiercely passionate about that you want to do in the world. That's the profile of this group that you just mentioned. And I think that they want the meaning of leadership in the 21st century to be shaped in their landscape, and that's the model does that perfectly, I think.
It seems like we are in a constant cycling. So we had early women feminist movements that were about the only, creating the visibility for the only. Then more recent ones that are emerging with more group identity. But it seems like we never get done with the challenging issues that we have. So if you had an issue that you wished you had fixed for the benefit of this current generation, what would that have been?
When I first started this part of my journey, I figured once we had identified that we weren't in balance as voices of leadership, that it would take 10 years to fix it. And that was 35 years ago. And so that's something I've learned along the way. What I've learned is that there needed to be a full understanding, a development of wisdom. And in order for us to do the important work that we are about right now, we needed to come at this and learn it from the bottom up. It couldn't be conferred on us from the top down. So I think that I would have loved to have fixed some of the issues that we still have, like, for instance, respect in the workplace. Issues that are in the news right now, harassment and all kinds of lack of respect and lack of recognition. But you see, when those things come to the fore, when they become public issues, when we start to discuss them openly, then we at least have the problem set up in front of us, and then we can begin to solve it. I don't think that these things could have happened quickly in 10 years. When I started this project, men were talking about the fact that they would never work for a woman. Never. It was an adamant statement. People had myths about women, that you put two women in a room together and they'll fight like cats. All these things had to fall away in some way. People don't even remember that that's where this started. But we have come a long way. And the work is important. And it still needs to be done. And I think it's this younger group of people who will take this work and move it into where we want to go, which is to achieve a balance in the voices.
You're triggering a story in me. It's like I used to watch Perry Mason, and I was so inspired by how he could advocate fiercely. And so it led me to my becoming a lawyer. And it wasn't until I showed up as a female in the courtroom, where most attorneys were male and the judges were male, mostly white male, that I experienced my first issues around racism and sexism. And I was stunned, and I look back on it now thinking, well, was it the black and white TV that had me not see these issues? that things were the way they were at that time. So I wonder, and I would like you to weigh in on this, about what's your hope, your greatest hope for the women around the world today?
Well, I think it's kind of the same thing that I was hoping when I first became aware of and started working on this project, and that is that women will achieve their voice. We will, each of us, have some piece of important work to do in our life. And the first thing that I needed to do was to acquire enough confidence in what I had to say, that I would actually say it, and that I would have the courage to stand up and say these things. Sometimes it took a lot of courage to do that. My hope is that women will find their voice around the world, and in doing so, they will be able to move things along. They will be able to take these issues that are still problematic and start to discuss them, open them up, understand them, work together to change attitudes, and achieve a balance. I'll go back to that, because I think we parsed out whether it was equal or how we were going to do all these things, and it doesn't have to be measured like that. It's looking for a balance in leadership, and once that happens, whole cultures change, attitudes change, respect levels change, and contributions and capabilities and the potential of each person has the ability to change within your reach and way beyond. So I'm looking forward to a day when all of the cultures and the women in our world will be able to make their mark and leave a different legacy.
So you've been at this for 35 years, so I hope that we get our act together soon enough so you can see some of that happening.
I'm seeing it now. It's a slow process, and who would have thought it would take this long? But it's knit so deeply into the human fabric that we really needed to do it right. And by doing it right, we aren't just adopting what was, we are changing the way it works. And that's really the ultimate legacy that we will have. We didn't just take a seat at the table, we reset the table.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that today, Martha. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristine.